In front of you is the open square symbol, a window to the world, the outward appearance of a brand, promising a new era for Russia. It's an era of openness, coupled with revolutionary achievements that will be remembered for generations to come, built on the foundation inherited from the peak glory and darkest moments of the Soviet past. Yes, the entity we're referring to is none other than the Russian state-owned high-tech conglomerate, Rostec, the name behind a range of modern made-in-Russia defense products, from infantry rifles to cutting-edge space rockets. So, where does this name come from? What are their most impressive products? Or with their immense potential, what plans do they harbor for the future? Indeed, the facts surrounding the operations of the world's leading defense conglomerate are always fascinating. Previously, military knowledge has had some videos on this subject. In the future, we'll continue to introduce new products with increasingly refined quality, not only about defense brands, but also any interesting facts about warfare, military history, and strategies worldwide. So, hit like and subscribe to not miss any videos. And now, let's get back to the main content. It can be said that Rostec is a very special entity. This is evident from its formation to its organizational structure, operations and goals. The precursor organization of Rostec is Rostec Technology, introduced in 2007 as a state-owned conglomerate. Operating with contributions from the Russian Federation, this organization was led by Sergei Chemezov as its CEO. Now, if you're knowledgeable about the history of world weapons, you might feel something fishy here. Clearly, we just said that Rostec was established in 2007, so how could they be the force behind a range of products introduced long before that? Even to the extent of overseeing product handovers like the BMP-3, a product from the Soviet era. Well, there's actually no mistake here at all. It's because in reality, the inception of Rostec or Rostec Technology, unlike Lockheed Martin or Hanwha or any other major players in the weapons market, wasn't about creating something new. It was a product born to meet the urgent demands of a new era in the context of Russia regaining stability after over a decade of decline. They retained the core technological foundation as well as abundant human resources and material supply. The critical issue to address here was stagnation, lack of unified group interests, a consequence of the aftermath of the Soviet dissolution. 148 enterprises were in severe financial crisis, 28 bankruptcies, 17 companies halted operations, 27 others had production lines destroyed or suffered significant asset losses. But nonetheless, the workers here didn't despair to the point of having to send their children to sell lottery tickets or to have a humble meal. According to Anatoly Serdyukov, restructuring the conglomerates for the government at that time was the only way to preserve the companies individually and the entire Russian industry as a whole. Therefore, on November 23, 2007, Russian President Putin signed Federal Law number 270 FZ to establish the State Corporation for the Development of Production and Export of High-Tech Industrial Products, Rostec Technology. Then, on July 10, 2008, by decree of the Russian President, 443 enterprises were transferred to this corporation. So, with just 630 billion rubles and a series of outlined plans, all aimed at establishing an effective management mechanism, rescuing all enterprises from the crisis. It was absolutely essential, as the Moscow government, still relatively young at the time, sought to regain some of the lost ground in the defense industry since the Soviet era. Very quickly, within just 2 years until 2010, Rostec's revenue surged by 60%, reaching 817 billion. To put it in perspective, Russia's overall industrial production growth during the same period was at 15%. If measured by goods output alone, labor productivity per employee nearly doubled. In 2012, the name, logo and slogan were changed from Rostec Technology to the familiar Rostec we know today. And by the following year, in 2013, when Rostec had essentially succeeded in steering the giant defense enterprises on the right course, the Russian government entrusted them with new tasks in an annual speech before the Federal Assembly. Vladimir Putin particularly emphasized the necessity for defense companies to expand into producing high-tech civilian products. The medical equipment market was identified as the most promising, where defense industry enterprises had the capabilities and appropriate technology. Thus, the production of high-tech medical equipment became an integral part of the state conglomerate strategy. Today, revenue from the sale of medical equipment and pharmaceuticals by Rostec is estimated at around 30 billion rubles. By 2015, this figure is expected to more than double, reaching 80 billion rubles. One of the highly successful products in the international market that Rostec has particularly focused on is the Bonny Mobile Infant Incubator, which competes on par and even surpasses offerings from established names in the medical equipment market. It can be said that Rostec not only reinforces the position of defense enterprises in expanding the production of civilian goods within the scope of the Russian Federation, but also actively establishes joint ventures with the participation of foreign investors. Interestingly, their partners include names from countries participating in sanctions against Russia. This collaboration extends across various civilian sectors. Most notably, the cooperation of Daimler, the German automotive giant, with the Russian truck company KAMAZ, has produced military trucks with powerful engines capable of traversing rough terrain. Another example is the successful establishment of cooperation in the Russian automotive industry between Aptobus and Renault from France. They hope this mutually beneficial relationship will facilitate upgrading production and restore Aptobus to a leading position in the future. In the engine manufacturing and aviation sectors, Rostec has also established cooperative relationships with leading companies worldwide. The SSJ-100 passenger aircraft, designed by Yakovlev, equipped with the SAM-146 engine, is a collaborative effort between Russia's United Engine Corporation and the French aerospace giant Safran. Additionally, the Russian helicopter company and India's Hindustan Aeronautics Limited have agreed to establish a joint venture to assemble K-26T helicopter engines. Rostec's projects with foreign partners are highly diverse. This entails not only establishing joint ventures for producing high-tech products, but also attracting investment into Russian enterprises, facilitating technology transfer between each other. Despite facing Western sanctions, Rostec manages to access essential supplies from outside partners, such as crucial electronic components from China, Malaysia, and India. Both civilian and military products continue to meet the Kremlin's demands. Rostec's Oversight Board has approved a development strategy until 2025. The primary objectives include achieving an annual revenue growth of 17%, increasing the output of civilian products to over 50% of the total production, expanding into rapidly developing new markets, and entering the top 10 leading industrial companies globally. While there are no signs of imminent concern, Rostec's leaders, in particular, and the current Russian government have not forgotten the lessons from the decline of state-owned enterprises during the Soviet era. Issues like nepotism, corruption, and cumbersome organizational management remain a focus. Therefore, internally within Rostec, streamlining management processes and reducing bureaucracy has been advocated. In line with this spirit, in 2015, a newly announced restructuring plan to reduce the level of management decentralization was passed. More than 700 entities were consolidated into 14 organizations, comprising 5 defense and 9 civilian organizations. Optimization measures primarily aimed at enhancing centralized management over enterprises. Except for some special cases, heads of subsidiary companies have been granted increased authority without having to frequently consult with the Rostec conglomerate. The desired outcome of all these optimization measures in organizational structure must result in a leaner central apparatus. Rational allocation of power will lead to effective management decisions in a short time frame. Widely known subsidiary companies include Rosoboronexport, Roselectronics, Technodynamica, Russian Helicopters, Kalashnikov concern. Moreover, the conglomerate holds over 25% shares in some entities like Avtovaz, Aeroflot, and many others. Rostec's organizations are headquartered in 60 constituent entities of the Russian Federation and supply products to markets in over 70 countries. Enhancing weapons manufacturing capacity liberates production, surpassing the already abundant domestic demand. Accordingly, the Russian government has simplified trade procedures and applied some special regulations to facilitate Rostec's exports worldwide. Consequently, Rostec continues to achieve new developments genuinely, without resorting to bond scams or real estate deals. According to the latest figures we gathered until 2022, Rostec's annual revenue has soared to around 2,100 billion rubles, approximately equivalent to nearly 24 billion US dollars. From then until 2023, despite US sanctions, the head of Rostec's legislation stated that tank production increased sevenfold, light armored vehicles increased 4.5 times, missiles and artillery increased 2.5 times. Prioritization was given to ammunition and some types of weapons, with a 60-fold increase. Rostec's investment portfolio is extensive, including renowned brands such as Avtovaz, Kamaz, UAC Russian Helicopters, Uralvagonzavod, Roselectronics, Kalashnikov concern. This is also the period when Rostec started promoting 15 new military products developed and manufactured in Russia. The company's product range has been expanded to include items for the Air Force, Navy, Ground Forces, Air Defense, and unmanned aerial vehicles. Introducing these new products significantly enhances Russia's weapons competitiveness and strengthens its position in the global market. Among the eagerly awaited new products are the Orlan 30 reconnaissance UAV, the Ballista remote-controlled combat module, the Chokovine sniper rifle, UAV countermeasures, new underwater weapons, communications equipment, specialized simulation, armored vehicles, and automobiles. Up to the present moment, the name Rostec has become indispensable for the majority of Russian defense projects. In addition to the production lines inherited from the Soviet era, they also have products with their own creative imprint. Among them, the Su-75 Checkmate project is the most impressive. This fifth-generation fighter, although not yet launched into the international market, has attracted the attention of many countries. Not only demonstrated in promising projects made in Russia. Products in all segments are currently highly favored. Quality is affirmed both in the domestic and international markets. As for the product you are currently viewing, it is the modernized version of the 2S-25 Sprut SD self-propelled howitzer. This is considered a versatile heavy-duty weapon specialized for the mobile combat operations of the Army. According to Rostec representatives, this self-propelled gun has the ability to overcome underwater obstacles while firing on the move. The vehicle can engage in combat operations in high mountain areas, swamps, tropical climates, and the Arctic. Besides the Sprut SD, there is also the 152L Manga self-propelled gun, specialized for airborne assault forces, with powerful firepower, high-speed mobility, and an operational range of up to 1,100 kilometers on a single refueling. As for the product you are currently viewing, it is the modernized version of the 2S-25 Sprut SD self-propelled howitzer. This is considered a versatile heavy-duty weapon specialized for the mobile combat operations of the Army. According to Rostec representatives, this self-propelled gun has the ability to overcome underwater obstacles while firing on the move. The vehicle can engage in combat operations in high mountain areas, swamps, tropical climates, and the Arctic. Besides the Sprut SD, there is also the 152L Manga self-propelled gun, specialized for airborne assault forces with powerful firepower, high-speed mobility, and an operational range of up to 1,100 kilometers on a single refueling. In the field of early warning aircraft production, Rostec also provides the Russian Air Force with Beriev A-50U aircraft based on the A-50 platform from the Soviet era. It plays the role of a flagship in coordinating combat operations of squadrons in the sky. The manufacturer claims that the A-50U has a lighter radar dome thanks to components of the modern Shmelem complex. It operates more efficiently and can track airborne targets up to 300 kilometers for ground targets and over 600 kilometers for airborne targets. This early warning aircraft can simultaneously track 300 ground targets or 40 airborne targets. The A-50U can tightly manage formations of various types of fighters, bombers, and different attack aircraft. Additionally, a digital aircraft control system has been added to the updated A-50U version to minimize risks caused by human factors. Not stopping there, in 2022, Rostec also conducted the first test flight in combat mode of the A-100 Premier early warning aircraft. It is expected to revolutionize the entire A-50 series. Accordingly, this airborne radar can accurately detect over 300 targets within a range of 600 to 1,000 kilometers at any altitude. It can simultaneously command combat operations for 10 fighter aircraft, an impressive number compared to any similar product in the world. Its functions extend beyond tracking fighters, attack aircraft, and conventional combat aircraft to include common cruise missiles, while also guiding anti-aircraft missiles to counter enemy attacks. In 2019, Rostec also successfully signed a contract to supply the BT-3F amphibious armored vehicles to Indonesia. This type of weapon is very suitable for a country with heavily fragmented terrain and many rivers like the archipelago. The BT-3F amphibious combat vehicle is developed based on the BMP-3F and designed to transport marine infantry units, coastal defense forces, and land forces, as well as to provide fire support for landing forces in all combat operations. The vehicle is large enough to carry 17 people, including crew members, and the BT-3F turret, equipped with a remotely controlled combat module with stable two-plane 12.7mm machine guns, aimed at monitoring terrain and attacking mechanized infantry vehicles. The combat module is equipped with long-range thermal imaging sights and laser rangefinders with bullet-counting sensors, which are very convenient. From an early stage, Indonesia has been known as one of Rostec's important partners in Southeast Asia. This country is implementing projects in both military technical cooperation and civilian product fields, as well as technology transfer. In addition to a vast array of colossal weaponry projects, Rostec also participates in numerous space rocket production projects, becoming a highly competitive contractor globally. Among these, the AG Machine event stands out, where a member of Rostec was invited to manufacture the frame for Egypt's spacecraft. It was launched on February 21st from the Baikonur Cosmodrome, marking Russia's third spacecraft with an integrated technology-based body, optimizing interior space. In Russia, NPO Energomash, a Rostec subsidiary, is a leading enterprise in non-metallic material production for the rocket and space industry. Over 100 materials and production technologies for space technology products have been developed here, with approximately 70 spacecraft launched into space. Internationally, NPO Energomash is also a reputable entity specializing in providing composite-based nose cones for launch vehicles and Angara. As of now, under Rostec's management, their subsidiaries have successfully maintained a position as a major supplier of components for spacecraft, satellites, rockets, indispensable in the space industry. It can be said that Rostec has played an indispensable role in Russia's current position. However, to assert itself as a worthy successor to the old achievements established during the Soviet era, and further strengthen Russia's position in the new era, They need more daring projects, at least something revolutionary, like a robot army, for instance. Yes, you didn't mishear. Right before the International Military Technical Forum, Army 2022 on August 12th, the Russian state-owned technology conglomerate Rostec presented a report on developing robots for the battlefield's most dangerous areas. According to Rostec's deputy CEO Dmitry Lelikov, this robot is created based on integrating the BMP-3 combat armored vehicle with a UTD-29M diesel 500 horsepower combat module, attacking opponents with a 30mm automatic gun, a 7.62mm machine gun, and a 100mm gun. It can also be used as a missile launcher guidance platform. The process of robotization allows the Russian military to gain the initiative in combat in future urban areas without risking the lives of frontline warriors. In the context of Western encirclement and sanctions, Rostec advocates cooperation with China, a partner constantly craving cutting-edge and unique made-in-Russia technology. This cooperation will allow Rostec to access huge financial resources from a country considered the world's second superpower, similar to the Soviet Union's former status. However, this also leads them to the risk of indirectly creating a formidable competitor in the future. So, in your opinion, with the current situation, does Rostec have the potential to achieve a greater position internationally, contributing to Russia regaining some of the former Soviet Union's status? Or is the excessive reliance on outdated technology platforms and budget constraints preventing them from making breakthroughs in the future? Feel free to leave your personal opinions in the comments section and discuss with others. Thank you, and see you in the next videos. Have a great day, everyone.